this has been said many times over the past days. And in the continual training, distinctions have emerged. There are two possibilities that I noticed that's available to formation or mentoring nowadays. One is called the top-down model, which I was trained in. Top-down, I'll explain that in a moment. And the second one that's emerging now as a result of researching how does the human person's brain work. The research into the working of the brain is so significant. It is really a paradigm shift, and it is going to change everything, I believe. It's going to change our understanding of how we do it. The top-down was, I'll explain in a moment when we were doing this. Now, some central elements in this growth process that have already been mentioned in the vocational mentoring. The reading says, I've learned so much from my mistakes already. I think I should make more. The wisdom in this is very profound. The philosophers tell us that we learn more from our mistakes. And indeed, isn't a mistake simply an indication? I tried to do something, but I haven't yet learned it well. That's all. It just means I have to practice it more. I have to understand it more. It is not a bad thing. It's a sign I am engaging in something new. I don't make mistakes in things I already know how to do well. I don't make mistakes. Because we already know how to do well, and it's already become what we call a habit. And that which is a habit is automatic. We don't really have to think much about it. So, mistake is the sign in each of us and in our candidates, you know. These people are seriously trying to do something new, and they're risking that they won't get it right the first time, second time, or third time. They're prepared to risk that. And that's why it's such a sign of hope that people will risk the learning process to go from what I know to what I don't know and face that which happens in the gap between these two things. So, the encouragement to try things is so central to being able to enter a formation process and guidance. I believe some assumptions, theological, psycho-spiritual assumptions, might be necessary to try and open a new model. Number one, the incarnational principle that as people of mind, heart, spirit, and body, God became incarnate into such a reality. And therefore He meets us in that same reality. Number two, because of this principle, I think it's possible to hold there is no experience of God that is not also an experience of something else. All our experiences of God are transmitted through a thinking person, a feeling person, a sensing person, a loving person. It comes with all of this experience of God. It's not direct, perhaps, to be meet in the kingdom with our daily God. This is an important principle, I think. And therefore, number three, as a sequence of that, God can begin this experience of meeting us at the level of the mind, He can begin at the level of the heart, and He can begin at the level of the body. At the level of the body. We've seen it so often in scriptures, how many of the prophets began to realize that God was trying to talk to them by sensations they had in their body, psychophysiological. Let's not undermine this. They had no thought about God. They had no great feeling, but they began to feel something burning in them, something that made them uneasy, something that woke them up at night. It was a physical movement or experience that allowed them to say, what's happening here? How am I to understand this? And he raised his hands. Did he need to raise his hands? God said, raise your hands. Take them out of your pockets, raise them. I gave you hands as a marvelous gesture of guidance and leading. So, this is a well-known program. I'm trying to build evidence for a possibility here. The incarnation principles and the integration that Sister Claudia mentioned the other day is an integration whereby we start with, again, the incarnation, start with knowing the self. You see that first semicircle there. Then underneath, when I get to know myself, I learn to accept myself. And this acceptance of the self may well be a profound act of humility. It's certainly a profound act of respect. Maybe respect and humility are cousins. Maybe they're really related. Respect for self, respect for others is profoundly linked in my understanding and experience of this. And when we get somewhere along the lines of those two journeys, knowing and accepting, we're now invited to make the other journey, present Jesus in a way that is attractive, in a way that touches the mind, heart, and body of the vocational, touches them, such that they will desire to be with him and follow him. It's the fourfold movement that would encapsulate, I believe, what Sister Claudia was talking about, integration of the whole person. And they need to go together, these four. It's a kind of an image model that I find helpful to see where am I in my guidance of somebody who is journeying with me, or I am accompanying in their verification of vocation and in their ascertaining, is this life truly for me? Have I the capacity to live it? To really live it? And this is where we have to experience. This is the fourfold movement of this integrated spirituality. Let me move on with this. Now, there's an aspect of the human maturing that is very lovely, and it's a blending of all the beautiful and positive experiences of our life. The love we have received, the support we have received, the guidance we have received, the teachers that helped us, all the people that were truly loving, supporting presences in our life. There is a spiritual practice. It's called the gratitude practice that I introduce to people in formation. And I ask them every evening, can you write down 3 things for which you were grateful today? And that builds up a change of mind, a change of heart, over the period of 1 month, write down simply, not writing a long book, but today I am grateful for a kindness somebody did, or a help somebody gave me, or a support. I'm so grateful to God. This builds up a great sense, and when we build up something like that, our brain gets changed. The brain gets changed, and when the brain is changed, it releases chemicals of happiness, contentment, and motivation. These have all very big names, and I'm not going to say them now, but you can read it for yourself. So this is one aspect of the human experience, and it's so important to find it. We must concentrate on this, actually. We must concentrate on developing this? Where is it in our life? Where is this experience in our life? Because there is a second element in the human experience, and it is called the element, the experience of the disturbed unconscious. This is another one whereby we have memories and feelings of neglect, feelings of not being properly understood, feelings of being passed over, feelings of being disrespected. We have this also. That's the other side. And pain like that of an emotional nature always disturbs us. And we have to find it and bring it out, bring it to light in some way. So the formation is looking at both of these, emphasizing particularly that which was positive and finding slowly that which was painful side of life. We need both of these. Mario Martinez from Argentina has just done a marvelous study on what he calls the 3 universal painful experiences of the human condition. And in the first one, he has the experience of shame, being shamed in one's life. He says it's very common, and it leads to feelings of humiliation. The second one, feelings of abandonment. People didn't show us time, didn't give us their attention when we needed it. They didn't recognize us. Abandonment, and that leads to feelings of isolation or not being connected to anybody. And the third one, he said, is the other one of betrayal. Feeling that a promise made was betrayed. A word given in confidence was betrayed. And you were left to feel betrayed, and with that, of course, we have the rise of this powerful emotion called anger. And he has found these to be pretty universal in life. We need to be able to do these, we need to be able to identify these, and we need formators, mentors, who have some basic training to recognize the positive and the disturbing unconscious pain. We need people who can recognize both sides. And this is not just a one-time off formation. I believe it's an ongoing formation for life. And that's why it's very important to have that attitude of a continuing sense of, I am still, though I am a mentor of vocation, I'm still a learner. I'm dealing with a mystery here, and I can never assume I know already the mystery of this person. I don't know the particular way all of these positive and shall we say, painful aspects of life, how they're interacting in this person. We have to be able to sense them, know them, and for training, I believe, it's all about this. We have to, as I say there, distinguish the conscious processes that people have. Their sense of call, their sense of generosity, their sense of being able to want to support. All of this has to be recognized. When I was being formed many years ago now, as the eminences Cardinal said to me yesterday, God was very lovely. He made lovely heads, and to the rest he gave hair. I think it's a wonderful joke. My hair is diminishing, but as I'm saying, I'm years at this. But when I was being trained, I don't know if any of you had it, the emphasis of formation was to show me my faults, to show me what I was doing wrong, and to somehow to eradicate it, to get rid of it. It was called the conquest of self. This is a very pessimistic view. Of course, it came from a very pessimistic time that in the church also, that pessimistic attitude towards the human person. It was a fault-finding process of formation. Find your faults, and my job as formator is to show them to you. Thank you very much. Did anybody else have formation like that? Am I the only one? Solo io? yes? Oh, good. I'm not the only one. This was we're not blaming anyone. This is what people knew at the time. And I'm only saying it to show us how far we have come with the grace of God. How far we've been able to move beyond this one. That's what people knew at the time. And they did their best in God's providence. Now we need a little more than that, I think, at this stage. We have to develop, as everybody was saying here today, the growth process. We have to develop appreciation and hope that as I am now, I'm not yet finished. As I am now, here today, I am okay. I'm okay. I'm good enough. Let us never not be able to say that. I would recommend this from 35, 40 years experience of doing this work. Anybody cannot say that. Progressing is very difficult. Very difficult. And they may be in a state of a kind of a psycho-spiritual depressiveness whereby they're not able to see anything good about themselves. This is serious. This is very serious. And also the spiritual writers indicate to me nowadays to be very careful of somebody who's always emphasizing that they are sinners. Always emphasizing they are sinners. You know, if you say that I am a sinner, is that true? Is that true? I ask you, say it. I am a sinner, is that true? It's true. Well, actually, I think St. Ignatius of Loyola had a nuance on that completes that sentence and doesn't leave it without hope. St. Ignatius found, he said, I am a loved sinner. I'm not just a sinner. I am loved as I am. Not when I will become better. Not when I will become perfect. No, I am loved as I am now. Here and now. That is the starting point of growth that I have found. If you can guide or mentor a vocationer into that inner state, I'm a loved person as I am, and stop criticizing me, please. Stop finding fault. Enough already. I've had my pains in life. Enough. Let us not torture each other. I'm a loved sinner, therefore I'm good enough. And because of that, I can now progress. I can now look at the Lord and don't have to turn away in shame or hide or feel abandoned by God. You often heard the spiritual experiences people would say that, number one, God is so far away now. He's so far away. But of course we know God is not far away. But why am I feeling that? What wound is that coming from in me? It's pains of abandonment. Abandonment that was part of my life, of people not being around, not being reliable enough to be there. Therefore, a formator, as has been already said, I believe, needs to be a presence in the formation house, seminary, wherever this mentoring of vocation takes place. You cannot be half-time there, I believe. We need to be a presence that is reliable and that is predictable. Therefore, there is no room, I believe, in a formation establishment for moody formators. I'm sorry, you better resign. Moody formators. I'm sorry, it's not on. Because you're not able to be reliable and able to connect with people who are dealing with the hurts and pains of life as well. So goodbye moods. Would you say that with me? Goodbye moods? Thank you very much. I don't need you anymore. And I give you permission to go. I give you permission. Remember, you're the subject. You don't have to hold on to things. This is the possibility I want to suggest in a moment. The bottom-up formation. You choose who you want to be each day, and it is not as difficult as the top-down formation model seemed to present to us as being difficult and takes a long time. And if I let go of my moods, what are you going to choose? As the scripture says, when you sweep out one demon, don't leave it empty, put in something. What are you going to put in? Good, so with my moods, and I choose to be calm and confident. I choose to be loving and present. You must choose it. Choose the you want to be. That is the neuroscience of quantum physics today. The purpose questions that a formator who has presence, once you have presence, you have a right. Your candidates will grant you the respect to ask questions. If we don't have presence, I think we don't have the right. In my latter years of doing formation, at the beginning of each year, I would ask my vocationers, can we make a contract? Are you willing to accept me as your guide and mentor for this year? Are you willing to allow me to interact with you, promising you that I will, as best I can, not offend, disrespect, or hurt you? I make that contract to make sure their rights are upheld and respected, and if they see me in a mood, I give them the permission and right to say to me, Father, take a half-an-hour break, please. You're intolerable to us at this time. Take a break. Take a break, come on, give us a break. Or one student said to me one time, Father, you're in formation too long, please go and get a life. Go and find a life for yourself, because you are suffering to us in this state. When you and I can be able to create the self we need to be, then we can, I believe, earn the respect of those we are guiding. Because as you know, and as we have all said, without this respect, I don't think we'll be able to guide anybody in it. And it's mutual, it's interactive, an interactive presence we've been talking about. In using the growth process, as you can see, we're all the time looking at things in different ways. The growth process is a very understanding thing, and it's a very lovely thing. And I hope you can continue to enjoy it. And you will enjoy it if you know how to create you, the you you're going to be each day. So here's an exercise I do every day, since my mentors first introduced me to it about 10 years ago. And it's a well-known one. Pope Giovanni, the 23rd Saint Pope Giovanni, when he got up in the morning, according to his journal, first thing he said was, Lord, today I begin. Today I begin. He was creating a new mentality for himself. Today, without that conscious creation, the unconscious disturbed motives will interrupt our day. Awareness is how we deal with the unconscious disturbance. If we don't create it, it will play havoc with our lives. Today I choose to be generous and helpful. Choose it. Today I choose to take a time of quiet and reflection. Today I choose to be generous, kind. We create that conscious identity every day. Let's not take it as a given or an automatic. Habits, you see, are unconscious. We don't have to think about them anymore. So we're looking for the conscious possibility to create who we are. And we can do this. It is not a gigantic thing. It does require a little bit of guidance and training from those who are guiding and mentoring others. And it is quickly and easily learned. At least this is my experience. And the dividend is very high. The dividend is very high. Are you still with me? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. That's hard to believe because the science says no. The science says after 5 minutes, your minds are gone off elsewhere. So would you stand up and I'll show you an exercise. Would you stand up? This is the bottom-up exercise. Keeping always in mind of your body. Would you stand up where you are? And just look at me now, just for the purposes of showing you. And put your hands together like this. Now I want you to stretch up slowly, and when you get to the top, just yawn. Oh. Does that feel good? You want to do it again? Once more. You like it so much, just one more, see. One more, ready? Up. Stretch out. You like it? You know, when I first started doing this, people thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy myself. But with the practice of it, and the new hard math science, Mark Waldman teaches this to people doing their MBAs in Harvard and all over the world. And when you do about 6 of these stretches, I would invite you to do it, it's equal to 20 minutes of yoga. 20 minutes of yoga equals a half an hour of prayer. You just watch. There's a magic here. That's quite precise. Because the equivalent to yoga is not a numerical thing, but what it is after doing about 5 or 6 of these, you put your brain into what's called the relaxation contemplative response. The relaxation contemplative response. Without it, there's a great likelihood, as the research is telling us, that we are in this stress response of daily life where contemplativeness and ability to listen and ability to create who we are is diminished. Greatly, greatly diminished. I would recommend this exercise to you. When I'm doing any kind of a talk, and in the Philippines where I live for many years, I often do this. And you can see the faces of people. Suddenly the brain is with you. The brain is here now. You're back in your body again. And now we can continue to listen and journey. Together, I think I can only offer you an experience of okay, 5 minutes, I'm rushing. Well, there's the top-down model, you know it well. Look at it. Top-down model is you meet with a formator, you do some spiritual counseling, spiritual growth, sharing. It's talking about our problems and talking about our growth. This was known as the top-down model, and in which you were looking for recalling, looking for understanding, looking for insight, in the hope that with these 3, you would begin to change. This is the model I was trained in. And I suppose most of us practice this model. Is that true? Practicing this kind of model of accompaniment, mostly everybody? Is that the one? More or less. I believe it's a very good one. But there is another one, and I'm going to call it bottom-up. And the bottom-up, it begins with, let me just pass over that because of time. You can maybe get a copy of this later. I prepared too much of this, excuse me. It's about creating a new mind. And creating a new mind is the beginning of real change. A new mind, you let that mind be in you which was in Christ. Create a new mind. This is what we're at. And we have a lot of bottom-up exercises for this. There are people who have problems of the will, disinclination to grow, to work. There are people also who have another class of problem, and it's called the problem of acquisition. They say, I can't do it. Or they say, I don't know how. Or they say, I can't do it well. You will hear people voicing these kinds of difficulties. Now we need to be sensitive to where that's coming from. Remember, according to Mario Ramirez, it's coming from one of the wounds of shame, abandonment, or betrayal. that stops me dead track on my living. Stops me dead track on my living. And with that in mind, we need to approach this from the body up. And the body means teaching the body to do certain exercises like the one I gave you, the yawning, relaxation, contemplative change for the brain, and you can sit down and you will find the quietness. I will do one more exercise before I finish. I think I have 2 minutes. 2 minutes? 2 minutes left. Okay. So we're trying to do this. Sometimes a vocationer needs to know, do I know what I'm doing here? What are the clear vocational values? Somebody talked about that already. Have they been made clear to me? What are they? What are the practices I'm going to do? So that I wake up and say, wow, did I do that? It was unconscious living by habit. Or as we say in the computer language, we live by a default program. The early habits we learned in life. Some of them are helpful, some of them are not so helpful. But they are unconscious. They're not conscious creations. They were conscious creations one time, but not anymore. So we're journeying on into positive relationships, the experiences of formation and mentoring in Asia. The big problem we find in Asia, and probably other places, you're training in a culture that has the authority of the older person is unquestioned. It's a cultural senior authority issue, and it's hard to deal with it, especially if the person in authority at a particular moment doesn't understand formation. And that's why ongoing formation is very difficult here, but it needs to be done in that sense. As I say in John's Gospel, many things were written, and I have no time to say to you. But maybe enough has been said, and can I do one more exercise? Would you stand up just to show you how this works? Just one more exercise, please. See, you're asleep already. Now this time, put your hands together like this. You ready? Raise them up. Put them down heavy. One more. Oh, come on, do it. One more. Finally, down. Now, come down very slowly. Very slowly. Listen to the silence coming over your body. Slowly down. And greet the Lord. Many, many thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Un grand merci au Père McGuire, qui nous a non seulement beaucoup nourri l'esprit, mais qui nous a aidés à avoir un corps disponible à sa parole.